Abusive relationships and personality disorders don't always go hand in hand. But if your partner is a narcissist, life can be particularly difficult. Living with a narcissistic partner can lead to a phenomenon called narcissistic abuse syndrome, in which a person's self confidence and mental health are adversely affected. Many experts acknowledge narcissistic abuse can have a serious long lasting impact on emotional health, although this is not a mental health condition that can be officially diagnosed. Hey there, আমি একজন ভারতীয় বাঙালি রিসেন্টলি নার্সিসিজম অ্যান্ড অ্যাবিউস নিয়ে একটু চর্চা করছি আজকের এপিসোড নার্সিসিস্টিক অ্যাবিউস সিন্ড্রোম. It is a form of emotional abuse by being in a relationship with a narcissist. Narcissistic abuse syndrome occurs when one is abused and demeaned so much by another that they believe they deserve the abuse. They can no longer distinguish their thoughts from the abusers. At times, they cannot recognize when their abuser is lying to them, even when they have the evidence of the lie. Victims learn to auto agree with the abuser without questioning or considering their own thoughts. However, it doesn't limit itself to emotional side effects. There can be many physical effects of narcissistic abuse that we may not notice. The person who is in a relationship with a narcissist changes over time. They end up feeling inadequate, worthless, they no longer know who they are, and would succumb to the narcissist's power. As mentioned earlier, the abuse could be emotional, verbal, psychological, or physical. Be careful because anybody could be a victim. It could be happening to you right now without you know it. Help yourself spot the signs to seek help early on. Here are 10 signs that could show you are experiencing narcissistic abuse. Number 1. You felt like you had a perfect relationship with the person in the beginning. When you are in a romantic relationship, this type of abuse usually begins slowly and it creeps up on you after you have fallen hard and are in love with your partner. In the early stages of the relationship, this is when the love bombing occurs. They may shower you with gifts and affection. They may seem romantic, loyal, kind, religious, and generous. It all feels so overwhelming and intense. You end up believing that the fairy tale like relationship that everyone wants is indeed possible. Then slowly, manipulative tactics starts to invade the relationship and will replace the love bombing. In the case of narcissistic parents, they might also offer love, adoration, praise, and financial support until you do something to displease them and lose their favor. They use tactics such as gaslighting and silent treatment, which can leave you questioning your own sanity. And this is something that sticks with you even after you have cut ties with that person. Number 2, you feel like you are walking on eggshells. A common symptom of trauma is avoiding anything that might make you relieve that particular trauma, whether it can be people, places, or activities that pose the threat to you. You may feel like you are constantly worrying and being careful about what you say or do around people because this is how you used to behave when you are around your abuser. Unfortunately, if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, walking on eggshells won't make a difference. You will still be the abuser's target, no matter how much you try to be perfect for this person. When narcissists are stressed or triggered, they feel that they can use you to relieve their stress, like a punching bag without emotion, just like a thing that they could yell at, belittle, and abuse as much as they want. Number 3, you become indecisive. Narcissistic people tend to use words and language to belittle, invalidate, or manipulate their partners or control their behavior, whether they are aware of it or not. When there has been a negative pattern of devaluation and criticism in your life, you might have a very little self esteem and confidence in yourself. Narcissistic abusers can make statements that imply that you are unable to make good decisions. Frequently hearing these devaluing words could make you start to believe them. As a result, you would become overly dependent on the narcissist, thinking that they could really make everything right for you. This makes you indecisive when faced with a dilemma where you must decide something for yourself. You lose your self esteem even in the most trivial decision making circumstances, believing that things would go wrong if you do it your way. This type of controlling and deceitfulness can affect the way you make future decisions. Number 4, you don't know yourself anymore. Abuse often inflicts fear towards its victim. Anxiety and fear could lead a person to forget about one's reality, regardless their willingness and unwillingness to change themselves. This is because the victim tends to adjust one's identity to accommodate the narcissist's one. Victims do it to avoid further abuse. However, the abuse only worsens, leading them to become a stranger even to their own selves, gradually losing their self identity, becoming the person that the narcissist perceives them to be. What if you want to see your friends from college? Your abusive partner doesn't allow you and will try to insinuate you that you are choosing them over your relationship. To avoid misunderstanding or another issue, you don't attend the gathering. This is already the start of your partner trying to manipulate you. So, everything you do will need your partner's approval. Look in the mirror. Do you still know who you are? What do you like? What makes you smile? Do you still have a life outside your partner? If you feel lost or empty, you are already trapped in an abusive relationship. Number 5, you blame yourself. When narcissist starts to carrying out their real intentions, everything in your relationship changes from best to worst. But narcissists escape the blame by making you feel it yourself instead. They start to use the guilt tripping tactic. They make you take responsibility for the terrible happening. They induce you to do something they want. You feel bad, so you submit to their wishes. But simply doing so doesn't make the worst situation better. So you start to question yourself over time. Have I done something wrong that made them upset? You feel guilty and blame yourself. The I should have start flooding your mind. Then you keep giving them their wants because you believe that yielding to their wishes will make up for the fault. The thing is, everything goes according to the narcissist's plan. They stick to you as they can, how easily manipulative, implying that you should feel grateful. They stuck on you despite your shortcomings. Number 6, you may engage in self sabotaging and self destructive behavior. What you hear or say to you will be your reality. Victims often find themselves ruminating over the abuse. This can enhance the frequency of negative self talk and the tendency towards self sabotage. Malignant narcissists will try and program you, conditioning you for self destruction. This could potentially lead you to engage in risky behavior such as self harm or even suicidal ideation. You might have developed a knack for the punishing yourself because of the toxic shame. Daily words about how incompetent you are and that you cannot do even the simplest thing, that you have no value. These words will damage you. Number 7, you have developed a persuasive sense of mistrust. Being used by a narcissist is so frustrating. Nobody wants that feeling. So you become aware of the abuse. You do not wish to anybody treat you the same way. The gaslighting techniques used by the narcissistic abuser may have contributed to how you view the world. You make yourself believing that everybody is a narcissist. You doubt even the people closest to you. You become very cautious. Everything becomes suspicious to you. Does this sound familiar to you? Number 8. You neglect your own needs. When you are in a relation with a narcissist and the real phase of abuse has started, your partner will begin setting rules. These rules would focus on the narcissist alone. Everything is about how you can please him or her and meet all their needs. Soon, you will see that you only live for your partner and your needs will no longer be met. When you are with a narcissist, it's all about this person's wants and needs. You cannot talk back without your partners being triggered. You cannot reason out or get upset because a narcissist can turn every situation around. If you stay in this type of relationship, you will neglect your own needs. Number 9. You experience physical symptoms. The stress of chronic abuse may send your stress levels into overdrive, and as a result, your body will react and show up as physical symptoms. That's why people experiencing narcissistic victim syndrome will experience many different physical symptoms like extreme fatigue, nausea, headaches, appetite changes, insomnia, muscle ache, and certainly weight loss or gain. This is because people who experience chronic abuse will have their cortisol level skyrocket. This will cause your immune system to become resistant and you will become vulnerable to ailments. You hear narcissist's voice and your stomach begins to tighten and hurt. You can sleep if you know your partner asks you to do something tomorrow. No matter how hungry you are, you become nauseous at the sight of food, knowing that you are with a narcissist. Each day, you will see and feel the effects of narcissistic victim syndrome. Number 10. You feel isolated. One manner used by narcissists to gain complete control over you is to isolate you from your closest friends, prohibit you from having any kind of support group that can defend you against them. To attain this, they make you feel valued and well taken care of. Narcissist makes it evident that you believe no one can hurt you. This is a nasty method by the narcissist. In doing so, you or any victim would be doubted once that they reach out for help, becoming even more vulnerable to their manipulation. Can you leave a narcissist? This is the number one question that an abused person asks. Is there a way out? The answer is yes, but before you plan, you first have to realize that your efforts would never be enough for the narcissist. So don't fall for the love bombing techniques and empty promises. Peace.